Today we start the discussion of Mandukya Upanishad. This Upanishad is one of the Upanishads which have been commented upon by Shankaracharya. And how did Shankaracharya choose these Upanishads on which he has written commentary? He chose these Upanishads based on the number of times they have been referred to in Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras or aphorisms on Brahman, the ultimate reality, divine principle. There are 555 sutras, and these sutras set out to explain different philosophical ideas expressed in the Upanishads. And Shankaracharya, when he commented upon the Brahma Sutras, found that there are some Upanishads which have been referred to frequently in the Brahma Sutras. And he identified some such Upanishads. Some say it is 10, which is the general consensus, and some say that he has written commentary on some other Upanishads also. But anyway, 10 or 11 Upanishads he commented upon. He wrote his wonderful commentaries, of course, from the perspective of Advaita Vedanta, of which he was the propounder. But in his commentaries, he says that Advaita Vedanta was there earlier also. Now, Mandukya Upanishad, along with Mundaka Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, and some other small Upanishads, which are called minor Upanishads. Some Upanishads are called major Upanishads, based on the criteria which Shankaracharya used to select his Upanishads. These Upanishads are called major Upanishads, and Upanishads that are not so popular, or that on which those Upanishads on which Shankaracharya did not comment, they are called minor Upanishads. So in the Atharva Veda, we know there are 4 Vedas which are the basic texts of Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma. What are the Vedas? Rig Veda, Yajur Veda,
Atharva Veda,
Sama Veda,
Sama Veda.
Atharva Veda. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. We have these 4 Vedas. And this Upanishad, the Mandukya Upanishad, is, along with Mundaka and Prashna Upanishad, it is from the Atharva Veda. The Upanishad itself is very small. The Mandukya Upanishad is very small. But on this Upanishad, a Karika has been written. Karika is a meter of poetry in Sanskrit, and that has been written. So there has been written this Karika by Gaudapada, and this Gaudapada, he wrote 215 verses to explain this Mandukya Upanishad in his own way. And also he established the school of Ajata Vada. Vada means the argument or the standpoint, philosophical standpoint. Ajata, that is unborn. So what is unborn? The universe is unborn. So all this what we see is just our imagination. It is all just our imagination. So Ajata Vada, that he established through the Karikas, which are called Mandukya Karika on the Mandukya Upanishad. Now, before we go into the Mandukya Upanishad, there are certain things which we need to understand. Basic things about Sanatana Dharma, basic things about the basic texts of Sanatana Dharma. What are they? First, what are the basic texts of Sanatana Dharma? And why do we call this Sanatana Dharma? What is Dharma?
धारयति इति
So,
धर्मः.
uh, so, so Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana means eternal. Eternal, which has no ending, which does not end. It is called eternal. Sanatana Dharma. And Dharma means, in Sanskrit, every word is derived from a root word. And here the root word is dhr, which means to hold on to, the basis, etc. So, dharayati iti dharma means that which is the sustenance or that which is the basis, that which holds is called dharma. So, here dharma can mean many things. But generally, Sanatana Dharma, this idea, when we use this phrase, we use this word as the sustainer or that which sustains in that meaning. But dharma can also mean the property of a particular thing. The dharma of water is to flow, or any liquid, it is to flow. Like that. Characteristic. The dharma can mean so many things. Dharma is not the same as religion, which is used in English. Religion means something different, dharma is something different. Religion primarily is used to mean something which binds you, a group of people who have a common set of beliefs. That is religion. That is how it is understood. Whereas dharma is not like that. Dharma is the very essence of life. Dharma is what sustains you, what guides you in life. Sanatana Dharma has as its basic text Vedas. Now, before we understand what are the Vedas, we have to understand what is the meaning of this word Veda. Veda etymologically means that which gives you with. Veda means that which gives you with. So, what is with? With has got 5 meanings, etymologically speaking. It has got 5 meanings. What are the 5 meanings of with? The first meaning generally taken, or the common meaning taken of this word with, is jnane, with jnane. That means for knowledge. That means to know. With is to know. That is why vidya means knowledge. With is to know, and that is why vidya means knowledge. With jnane. And with sattayam, to be. It's your, whatever you are, your existence, satta. Your very identity is with. Then with labhe, to obtain or to gain something, to attain something. And with vicharane, to analyze, to consider something, to have deep contemplation. First one is jnana, knowledge. Second one is satta, your being. And third is attaining something, labha. And fourth is vichara. You consider something, you contemplate on something, etc. And the fifth is chetana akhyana anivesheshu. Means you have the feeling or experience which involves your conscious mind. That is, you feel, or you express, or you think about something. That is the fifth meaning. And Veda is something which enables you to do all these things. It enables you to know your true nature, jnana. It gives you such a knowledge which is not going to become obsolete. This knowledge is not going to become obsolete. You learn a programming language and after some time it becomes obsolete because there is a new version, or for all you know the whole that kind of programming is redundant, it has gone. Now there is another generation of programming languages which have come, so you have to simply discard the previous. You learn some particular theory, some particular principle in science, and suddenly science comes with wonderful discoveries, and they tell you that whatever you have learned is all wrong, you have to unlearn it and you have to learn something new. So these are the problems or the limitations of empirical knowledge, because empirical knowledge is based on sensory data, and sensory data can be flawed. It depends on the mechanism which you use to get that data. It can be wrong, and when you understand that that data is wrong or the conclusions based on that data is wrong, then you try to get further data and change your conclusion. That is the characteristic of empirical knowledge. It can be in any field, but that is the thing. In language, words which were first earlier considered not correct, words or usages which were considered not correct or maybe informal or not polite, etc., are now used in the language, in the mainstream language. Why? Because of the change of how language is perceived and how it is used. So that is the limitation of empirical knowledge. But here we are talking about knowledge which is given by the Vedas. And that knowledge is the knowledge of your true self, which never becomes obsolete. It never becomes obsolete. It is a knowledge which is there forever for you to simply understand. It is there and it doesn't come into existence or it does not get exhausted, etc. It is there. It is only we have to understand it. It is there for us and it is up to us to understand. So in that sense, Vedas give us knowledge. But also they give us empirical knowledge also to some extent. They tell us what to do for doing rituals. So they give us this knowledge of rituals, different kinds of rituals, all through the Vedas we find. So how to make a ritual, how to conduct a ritual, what are the ingredients necessary, what are the things you have to construct, etc., etc. So in that sense also, Vedas tell something, teach us something. So even that knowledge we get. Then Vedas help us to be our true self, to understand what we are. So it helps us to become what we are, satta, attain to our own true being. Then Veda helps us to obtain also the knowledge of Brahman or God or our own self. And Vedas help us to think, contemplate the dictum or the three dicta which are found, the injunctions which are found in the Vedas are Shrotavyam, Mantavyam, Nididhyasitavyam. So you have to first listen. Listening means you have to first understand, you have to get it, you have to get the data, sensory input. How you will get? You will learn. You will hear from the mouth of a teacher, guru, master. Shrotavyam. Then you listen properly, assimilate. Mantavyam, contemplate on that. Manana. Shravana, manana. So you contemplate on that. This tavyam means it is an injunction, it is an order, it is something which you have to do. It's an injunction. You have to do, you're supposed to do. So you should listen, you should contemplate, and nididhyasitavyam, you should meditate upon it. So nididhyasana, you should meditate upon it. That is what the Vedas ask us to do. And so they help us to consider or contemplate on our true reality. And at the end, they help us to experience it also. It is not that you just know about something, you think about something. In our life, we see that you may know about so many things, you may think about so many things, but till you experience them for a fact, they are going to be totally useless in your life. So here, Vedas teach us how to experience your true personality, how to experience that self, how to get that bliss. Why you should be experienced? Because we have to get rid of suffering. Suffering is something which is a reality, which is an existential reality, which is there. You cannot argue. Nobody argues that they don't have suffering. It is a reality. People feel hungry, people feel sleepy, people feel thirsty. That is a reality. Nobody argues against that. Nobody says, no, I don't feel thirsty, I don't feel hungry, I don't feel sleepy. Everyone feels that. So that is a reality for every one of us. And similarly, suffering is also a reality. To get rid of this suffering, to go beyond this suffering, we need the experience of something that is totally unchanged by suffering. Only when you understand that this suffering is not going to change me, the true me, that you will not suffer. Else you will always suffer. Why do we suffer? Because we think that we are going to be changed. We think that it is going to jeopardize my life. It is going to endanger my existence. That is why I suffer. But once I know that this is not going to affect me, I will not, this is not going to affect me, I will not suffer, and there will be no effect of suffering on me. And that knowledge Vedas give. But Vedas, Swamiji says, by Vedas no books are meant. So Vedas are not something which are available in book form. But of course we see that Vedas are available in book form. So what is the idea? The idea is Vedas are not limited. Though we get some text in the form of Vedas, Vedas are not limited only to that. This is what we now have in our hand. But Vedas are the accumulation of experiences of different sages, rishi, seer of truth, a person who sees truth. Swamiji used the word mantra drashta. So a person who sees mantra, that person is called rishi. And now these rishis have experienced these truths and they have repeated it in the Vedas. And how was that transmitted? We did not have MP3, we did not have Skype, we did not have Facebook, and also WhatsApp was not there. Thank God, that is why they were able to do all these things and do. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Imagine one rishi sending a WhatsApp message saying that today I have understood this thing about Brahman. Then the other fellow say, "Oh, you have understood, but you are not replying. I saw that it became blue, but you did not reply." So poor fellows, these rishis would have been able to realize this truth. So thank God WhatsApp was not there, so they were able to do. But how did they transmit it? They transmitted it through word of mouth, through oral transmission. It's a big thing now in humanities, oral history. How different narratives, that is the word used in humanities, different narratives or different kinds of ideas are transmitted through oral medium, that is through mouth, word of mouth. So there were some students, they came to a guru and said, we want to know the truth. And so this guru taught them. The students, say 10 students, they got that and they went to some other place and they taught their disciples. So there are what are called branches. They are called shakha. Shakha literally means branches. It can be branches in the tree also or branches in some other thing also. Here Veda has got shakhas. So the same text in a different branch may have little differences, not so much. But for example, if you give a quote, original quote in WhatsApp, and then it will go all over the place and come back to you in a different form. But those days they did not have WhatsApp, anything, but still when they told something, it was transmitted exactly the same way. But sometimes, very rarely, we find some differences, and so they are told to be of a different shakha, different branch. So this is called Shruti Parampara. Parampara means tradition, Shruti means something which is heard, Shravana. So that which is heard is Shruti, and that which is written or thought of or remembered is Smriti. So Shruti means Vedas. Vedas were transmitted by word of mouth, so Shruti. And Smriti means they were just remembered and then they transmitted. So it is called Smriti. Just like you have Mahabharata, which was written. And then because Mahabharata contains Gita, Gita is also Smriti. Then there is the other idea which we have to understand in Prasthana, in Sanatana Dharma, that is called Prasthanatraya. What is Prasthanatraya? Prasthana means path, or different sections of knowledge, different branches of knowledge. Traya means a group of three. So in Sanatana Dharma, we have three types of prasthana. What is that? Shruti prasthana. Shruti prasthana means that which belongs to the Shruti, the path that which belongs to the Shruti. What are the Shrutis? Vedas. And Vedas are broadly classified into three parts. First part is the Samhita, which has got hymns and prayers to different gods and goddesses. And the second part is Brahmana, where different Vedic rituals are explained. Third part is Aranyaka, that is the forest portion, that which is in forest. So there generally knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of the ultimate reality, they are discussed upon. But these classifications are not hard and fast. Sometimes you find hymns in Aranyaka portion, sometimes you find philosophy in Brahmana portion, etc. But broadly, this is how they are classified. Vedas are classified. So every Veda has got these three broad divisions. And sometimes the Samhita portion is also called the mantra portion. And in the Aranyaka, towards the end of the Aranyaka, you have the Upanishads. Now, Upanishads means what? Upanishad is a word uh, which has got shad. Actually, shad is the word. That means to loosen up, to destroy, etc. So what is loosened up? The confusion between what is conscious, what is chit, and what is jada, what is unconscious. It is called chit jada granthi. That is the knot between the conscious and the unconscious. What is real and what is unreal. We have got confused. We are all confused. What is real, what is unreal. Now you have real, you have virtual, and even that virtual is not real. And the real, what you think is real, is not real. So you stand in front of the mirror and think it is very real, it is not real. And you think that you have made an avatar in front of in the computer, and you sit in front of your Facebook profile, that also is not real. So what is real? Real is something that is behind everything, all these things. So that loosening up of this confusion, of this knot, or loosening up of this ignorance, avidya, that will happen if you go near a guru, a teacher. So the student goes near the teacher and requests the teacher to give this knowledge, by which this breaking up of the illusion takes place. So the word here, root word is shad, and there are two prefixes, upa and ni, and this word comes Upanishad. That is the way how the word has been formed. So Upanishad. But Prasthana Traya, the first Prasthana is called Shruti Prasthana, that talks about, that is Upanishads. So all the Upanishads are considered to be Shruti Prasthana. So first Prasthana Traya, and first that you have Shruti Prasthana, and traditionally people study 11 or 12 Upanishads. based on what Shankaracharya commented upon. And then the second one is Smriti Prasthana. Smriti Prasthana means what? That which is found in the Smriti. Here, Mahabharata. Mahabharata has got Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is coming under Smriti Prasthana. And the third one is Nyaya Prasthana. Nyaya means logic or analysis. So here what is the analysis? Different ideas contained in different sentences of the Upanishads have been critically analyzed in the 555 aphorisms or codes, you can call it formula also, written by Veda Vyasa. So they have, ancient Indians had this wonderful mnemonic system. All of us are aware of mnemonics. So this is the mnemonic system they had. They take wonderful ideas and encode it into cryptic texts, which are called sutra. So sutra means it has got world of meaning, but it has got very few letters. So very few letters are used, and just like an ordinary modern day programmer will want to reduce the lines of programming in a computer program, similarly those days rishis, they were very happy. It is told that if a rishi could shed one syllable or one letter, he used to get more happier than if he had a child born. So he used to get more happiness than from the birth of a child if he could reduce one syllable of a particular sutra or something. So that is how this mnemonic system was developed, and now we have this 555 sutras which is considered to be authored by Veda Vyasa, the person who classified the Vedas into 4 Vedas. And the same person, we don't know whether it is the same or different people, but we can safely assume that it is the same person who wrote the Mahabharata, and also who wrote the Bhagavata, who wrote all the 18 Puranas and 18 Upapuranas. So this is the idea. Now we have Shruti Prasthana, Smriti Prasthana and Nyaya Prasthana. So it is called Prasthana Traya. Though the 4 Vedas are important, but generally because the Vedas are vast, people don't have time to study all the Vedas. So people, they study these 3 Prasthanas, and they get an idea about what is contained in Sanatana Dharma, or what is the main teaching of Sanatana Dharma. Any questions?
Maharaj, then what is Brahma Sutra?
That is what Brahma Sutra is. Nyaya Prasthana, I told you.
Okay.
555 sutras which were authored by Veda Vyasa.
Okay.
Which discuss different concepts in the Upanishads. Any other question?
Maharaj, this Prasthana Traya, like Shruti and Smriti, I'm able to understand, but how can I, visualize the Nyaya Prasthana Traya?
I did not understand. Visualize means?
Like how can I understand? Because Shruti and Smriti we can understand because there is Upanishad available, there is Gita available.
So Brahma Sutras are available. Nyaya Prasthana means Brahma Sutra.
Oh, okay.
Nyaya Prasthana means Brahma Sutra. So Brahma Sutra, that is sutras or aphorisms which talk about Brahman, the ultimate reality. Here we will discuss Mandukya Upanishad. So Upanishad, we found what is the meaning of Upanishad, that a guru is approached by a student for the sake of attaining the ultimate realization which will lead to the dispelling of ignorance.
Maharaj, just if I can interrupt you here. Uh, in history, we read that there are, we come across three Vedic periods: early Vedic, middle Vedic, and later Vedic. So all this literature, this was, I mean, it is spread over all these. I mean, these were composed only in the early Vedic period, or in the three Vedic periods.
Most of the principal Upanishads
Hmm.
were composed in the early Vedic period, but early Vedic period generally the earliest of the Vedas is the Rig Veda,
Yeah.
then Yajur Veda, then Sama Veda, and then Atharva Veda. That is the chronology.
Hmm.
So Atharva Veda is chronologically the last, and
Hmm.
this Mandukya Upanishad is from the Atharva Veda. So
Hmm.
Atharva Veda is generally not considered to be
Hmm.
belonging to the early Vedic period. It is
Okay.
considered to be belonging to the later Vedic period.
Hmm.
So similarly with the other Vedas. There is another thing that
Hmm.
when we say Veda, there
Hmm.
are three types of texts used in Vedas. One is poetry,
Hmm.
which is called Chandas, and
Hmm.
then there is you can say three or four. Then there is something called Rik. It is also considered poetry. So Rik is actually mantra. Rig
Hmm.
Veda gets its name from Rik. Rik means mantra, different types of mantras. So
Hmm.
Rig Veda is full of that. Then you have in Yajur Veda you have prose also.
Hmm.
So Gadya Padya means prose poetry, and
Hmm.
Samaveda has got Gana.
Music. Huh.
No, Samaveda has got Gana means song.
Okay.
Song. So these are the three varieties in which it is Vedas are there. Atharva Veda, on the other hand, has a mixture of all these three.
Hmm.
So sometimes Vedas are called Trayi. Trayi means a group of three. So people who could not understand it properly, in many books you will see Trayi means only three Vedas. So because Veda Trayi, like that it is used in many traditional texts. So they say originally there are only three Vedas. But that is a wrong understanding. It is not that originally there were only three Vedas. Originally four Vedas are there, but they have three types of texts. So that is why it is called Trayi. Now Mandukya Upanishad, this Mandukya, this word comes from the name of a sage who is giving us this knowledge of Mandukya Upanishad. So the sage Mandukya is giving us this knowledge. And Mandukya can mean so many things. One who has Manduka. Manduka means frog. It can also mean horse, etc. It can mean so many things. But Mandukya means one who has Manduka is called Mandukya. One who has got Manduka is called Mandukya. So here it refers to a particular sage who gave this particular knowledge of the Upanishad. Now it is also considered that this particular sage uh, had a different school or a different shakha, and that shakha is called Hrasva Mandukeya Shakha. Hrasva Mandukeya Shakha. So the Hrasva means small, mini, Mandukeya Shakha. Like that it is understood. So as I told you earlier, Mandukya Upanishad has got some, it is one of the shortest Upanishads, and then there is something called Karika, that is a poetical commentary on, or a verse commentary on this Upanishad. It is divided into four chapters. The first chapter is called Agama Prakarana. Prakarana can mean chapters. But in the context of Sanatana Dharma, there is something called Prakarana Grantha. Prakarana can also mean section, it can also mean auxiliary. So there are so many texts in Sanatana Dharma which deal with a particular topic of Sanatana Dharma. They are called Prakarana Grantha, like Vivek Chudamani, Panchadashi, etc. etc. Here, this Karika, Gaudapadika Karika, Gaudapada, written by Gaudapada, this Karika, now he was the great guru of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya's guru was Govindapada, Govindapada's guru was Gaudapada. So Gaudapada wrote this, and it is divided into 4 chapters. The first one is called Agama Prakarana. Agama means scriptures or sacred texts. And the second one is called Vaithatya Prakarana. That means falsity of or illusoriness of this experience, Vaithatya. And the third one is called Advaita Prakarana, where non-duality or Advaita is established. Advaita Prakarana. Then fourth one is called Alata Shanti Prakarana. That means Shanti means to quench or to put off. Alata means fire. So the to put off the firebrand. That means giving different kinds of logic, different kinds of reasoning to establish Advaita Vedanta. That is fourth Prakarana. So these Prakaranas we will see. I will be using the Shankaracharya commentary, and also I will be using Anandagiri's commentary, and also different kinds of modern texts to get an understanding of both the Mandukya Upanishad and the Mandukya Karika. Now, Mandukya Upanishad can be as any Upanishad can be. Swamiji said, go to the original meaning. Don't go to what different commentators are telling you because they have done text torturing, etc. Swamiji says, Swami Vivekananda says. So they have tortured the text to mean what they want us to understand. So we will try to approach the Mandukya Upanishad, the text of the Mandukya Upanishad itself, in as universal way possible. Not just see only the Advaita standpoint, but we can see other standpoints also. And we will approach the Gaudapada Karika because Gaudapada has written that to establish his Ajatavada, the argument that there is no universe, that everything is just a product of our imagination. So that kind of a thing. So we will see that text also. It's a beautiful text. It has got wonderful literary value. It's wonderful poetry. And Mandukya Upanishad is also an Upanishad which discusses in detail about the different states of consciousness. And there have been wonderful books both in India and also outside India, particularly in recent times, written on the different states of consciousness, and some of them have openly acknowledged that they have taken ideas or they have been influenced by the Mandukya Upanishad. So we will see this. Any questions?
No.
Maharaj, any textbook available for Mandukya Upanishad which we
There are
can refer?
so many textbooks. You can. There is a book, Mandukya Upanishad, translation by Gambiranandaji is there. Then translation by Nikhilanandaji is there. So you can refer any book. There are plenty of books on Mandukya Upanishad with the Karika. Most of them are available online for free.
Okay.
Maharaj, I have one question.
Yes.
As you said, we should prefer the main book, not the commentator book. So, if we do not refer any book which commentary by anyone, how sometimes we may misunderstood the meaning of original sloka. So, like if I read like as example, if I read only Gita, original Gita, some meaning we may not understand, like what they are saying.
Hmm. Yeah, so that is the idea. What I would say is follow the recipe, but have your own taste. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay,
Follow the
okay.
recipe, have your own taste. So if you
Okay.
want to make something, you take a recipe from a person who has already made that, but have your
Uh-huh.
own taste. Don't say that this particular food is tasty because a particular person says that it is tasty. So you prepare it and then see for yourself, and then you will understand that probably putting this or that, adding some spice here, some spice there, or some doing some kind of modification, then you will come out with your own recipe. Okay, so
Right. Make
follow the recipe, but don't follow the taste. Have your own taste. And in the particular context of the commentary which you are telling, there are times when you are confused what meaning it can have. Then you go to the commentary to find out what is the particular context of that particular mantra. Because these things we are studying after such a long time in time. So we don't understand the particular context. So you then, for example, now I am talking about programming languages. If somebody listens, nobody will listen, but I am telling some, if this suppose somebody gets something, say 300 years after, then they will say, oh, they were so backward. They used to write programming languages and all.
true.
Or they will not, even not understand what this programming language they are talking about, etc. So they will have some anthropologist or they will have some archaeologist who will try to figure out what this programming language is all about.
Right.
Okay.
Maharaj, so far as other Upanishads are concerned, we don't know actually who wrote them or composed them, right? So how come this particular Upanishad has the sage's name with it?
It is not true that the other Upanishads you don't know. When you read the Upanishads in the Vedas, you find that the Upanishads have the signature or the name of the signature means in the particular text of the Upanishad itself. In the Vedic text itself, you see that the name of the sages are given. That this sage told this sage told this, etc. Sometimes an Upanishad is only of one sage, or sometimes in an Upanishad many sages their teachings are there. So it is not true that we don't know. We know there are.
Okay,
It is written there. Hmm.
okay.
Any other question? So from next Sunday onwards, we will continue with the text of the Upanishad. Is that all right?
Yes,
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
yes.
Yes,
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 Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Yeah.
Okay. Namaste.